has that same delay. You're live. What is going on, YouTube? We are live with the Fantasy Tailgate for the first time ever, not on Facebook. Adolph Goodell has decided to find us and block us for a Kyler Murray Week 1 highlight. Yay, that's great. So thank you. At least we're big enough to get recognized by the NFL now. I am the Wolf, as always, here with my trusty co-host, CJ. How we doing, Siege?
Hey, I'm back.
He's back, yeah, live after a disappearance last week. That's why we no longer have a single sponsor anymore. All the seltzers have dropped us because CJ was a corpse after drinking them, crying in the...
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, pulled Antonio Brown, tried to fight me, screamed at me as if I was Mike Mayock, and he has made it alive, though. We're glad to see CJ back, especially because we're now blocked by Facebook and needed to figure out YouTube. Sorry to be a little delayed there on getting the start here, but here we are. We are live. We're going to cover all the news you need to know. We already have a bunch of starts in there, which is fantastic. But as the audience is building and getting used to this, CJ's going to share it out on Facebook now that we are officially live and whatnot, because we have a huge audience that was following us there. We want to make sure we hit everybody. So we'll start with some news as we're waiting for them and waiting to get all the starts built up. But don't worry, we will answer every single question, guaranteed answer. That's what we're here for, to make sure you're ready for that win. But starting off right now with Thursday Night Football breakdown, as we always like to do, although there's not too much to break down when it's fucking Jaguars versus Titans. Did you watch any of that game?
I watched the opening kickoff where there was a fumble, and then periodically throughout the night I had watched it, but
it was horrendous, and there's really not a ton to take away.
Just like Gardner Minshew is hot as fuck.
The man, sexy as hell. Clearly all the rage, and deservedly so. Works out in only a jock strap. All these great stories coming out about the guy.
His thighs?
Not bad.
They are fucking gigantic.
Yeah, not bad. The guy clearly doesn't skip leg day. CJ's more of a bicep guy, but
we need Seamus's take.
Seamus, yeah. Check out Gardner Minshew. The last night's jorts. I mean, ripping out of those, busting at the seams out of his shorts. The guy is a legend, though. He's getting it done. 67% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns. Really only on the first 2 drives. Then he just kind of cooled off and disappeared. But if you're desperate for, a 2 QB streamer super flex league, Minshew's looking like he can actually get it done. DJ Chark is clearly his guy. 3 touchdowns in 3 games. If he's somehow still out there in your leagues, and I think he's only about 30% owned right now, check for DJ Chark. He's looking like he's the clear number 1 there. D.D. Westbrook comes back to life, which was at least encouraging to see. Nothing amazing, but he was at least involved this week after disappearing last week. But the main takeaway, in my opinion, besides this passing game being okay without Nick Foles, is that Derrick Henry's a true workhorse. Another 17 carries. It's the 3rd straight time he's gone it for at least 17 carries. We talked about all preseason. They're promising to get this guy going early and often. That's what he needs to roll. And they're doing it. And this is the 3rd straight week he scored a touchdown, unsurprisingly. So Henry is that legit, true number 1 workhorse that we were hoping he's going to be. He's finally seeing that treatment.
Looks like Deion Lewis was a huge waste of money.
Complete waste of money.
They don't care about him at all.
And I'm getting some questions. I want to know your take, CJ, because I know you and me have a little bit different opinions on Henry. A lot of people asking, do I sell high? He's playing so well. Is he going to actually keep this going all year? Before I give my take, what's your thoughts on Henry? Do you keep him or did you try to sell him right now?
I've always been good with him.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's a solid RB2. He's going to give you a ton of carries a week. And, I'm fine with him. I'd keep him.
Yeah. So CJ says hold Henry, don't sell him. I'm in the same boat. I think it's only getting better. I'm a big Derrick Henry fan. I've always been.
Mariota still sucks.
Mariota sucks. So maybe if the move to Tannehill might actually help this offense, which whoever thought those words would be spoken, a move to Tannehill helps the offense. But ultimately, Henry is that true workhorse we expected. We're pumped to see it. And on the flip side, and we were actually right about too, Fournette continues to suck. I've never liked the guy.
We always agree on that.
We've always been down in 1 year. His rookie year made us look like a fool. But other than that, we have been correct to be down on this guy. He continues to suck. He had a 69-yard run kind of save his day because he was otherwise at 10 carries for -3 yards. It was embarrassing to watch. Literally, his yards per carry were going up when he was getting stuffed for 0 yards. That's how bad this motherfucker was. So Fournette sucks. If somehow people are still buying into him, he's not a buy low in my opinion. I would sell him for his name value only at this point. Him, Devonta Freeman, some guys that just suck and continue to be valued because of their names. I would be looking to sell these guys because I think by week 7, 8, after they have 7 straight stinkers, people will finally wake up. So that's kind of it for the Thursday night football game. I don't have a whole bunch more to cover. So let's get into some of these early starts start. So you guys have been waiting very patiently for us. So we appreciate that. We'll cover Antonio Brown as the menu just moved in a second. But CJ, can you see the comments? Because I actually can't on my screen.
So we're going to start with Hillary. She
hey,
wants
Hills.
to know, I think she's a friend of the program.
He might be.
So she wants to know.
She's decent looking.
She has a flex question. James Conner, James Brown.
James Brown? Not sure who James Brown is, Hills. Come on, get your shit together.
Oh, so James Conner, Brown. Oh no, Brown, Cup, or
it's John Brown for the Bills. I know her team.
Okay.
Cup or Metcalf.
Yeah.
I just first want to make sure you know, Hills, that Carson has to be in your lineup. I don't know if we benched him or not, but with Rashaad Penny sitting, we're going to cover that in a little bit. You got to have Chris Carson in your lineup today, folks. He's going to be a complete workhorse. That leash is longer. But between those ones, I kind of lean John Brown. I don't know about you. James Conner's clearly the safest. He's the guy that you know is going to get 15 to 20 touches. But how do we know Mason Rudolph's going to get the job done? That D-line for the 49ers has been dominant all year so far.
I'd pick him over Cooper Kupp.
That's
Especially
tricky.
with
Cup
Denzel
or
Ward.
Oh yeah, that's true. And that's another great point. Is Denzel Ward's out, so they're now down at their top corner, which just makes it all the much better for all the receivers there. I think Cup, and she's full PPR too. Yeah. I think Cup in a full PPR league is definitely the play. But John Brown has been crushing it. He is facing Cincy too. I don't know. You got to remind me, Hills, are you like the favorite this week? I feel like your team was definitely the favored one to win. And if that's the case, it's got to be Cup, the safer floor. You know you're going to get 12 to 15, maybe even a score there too. But ultimately, if you need a blow up, then John Brown, he could go for 30 today against Cincy. So higher ceiling was Brown, higher floor is Cup, and in 80 to 90% of chances, I'm probably going to go Cup there. So that's where I lean.
All right, so John Schuler's asking for his flex. Mike Williams, Deebo Samuel, or Sterling Shepard? There's no points, but
no points. This might be risky. I like Debo the most there. I think facing Pittsburgh secondary that has been routinely destroyed. Do we know, is Joe Hayden back this week? Probably not.
I haven't seen anything on this, so I don't think so.
Yeah, so that secondary has been getting destroyed regardless. I do love to see what Shepard does with Danny Dimes. I think Danny Dimes is going to be the real deal. We should have him on the menu.
I wonder who he's going to lock in on this week. Ingram will probably get a bunch of targets, and then who knows after that.
Yeah, who's going to be Daniel Jones's guy? The preseason was Benny Fowler, so maybe that's an interesting DraftKings flyer. But I think he's the real deal. Based on his preseason, he completed 88% of his throws and was making high-degree difficulties. It wasn't just dinking and dunking. He really got it done. So Danny Dimes, an interesting streamer. I think he's under 5K on DraftKings, facing a terrible Bucs defense, and just looks like he's the real deal. So I like Daniel Jones this week. I'm intrigued to see what he does for Sterling Shepard, but we've been seeing Debo get it done. He's been the highest snap guy there. He's facing a terrible secondary. I think he just keeps it rolling.
They find creative ways to get him the ball. It just seemed like
backfield,
all those screens and everything they do.
Exactly. It's he's that new little toy for Shanahan, and he's thriving. He's so explosive. So I lean Samuel just because he seems a little more certain than Shepard, who's coming off the concussion. We're not positive Danny Dimes will get it done even after I just raved about him. So yeah, I do lean. I lean Deebo Samuels, but I'm pumped to see. I can't wait to see what Daniel Jones and Sterling Shepard do this week, and Evan Ingram and the whole Giants crew. Let's do one more, and then we'll hit Antonio Brown.
All right. So Jake Knight has two questions.
Jake Knight, welcome. I'm glad you found us.
Both full PPR. He wants to know Breida or Josh Gordon.
Breida or Josh Gordon. Full PPR, man.
I love Gordon.
I really like Gordon. I think that, Antonio Brown gone. Let's rid ourselves of this. This is gonna be a nice transition to talking about Antonio Brown in a second. I like Josh Gordon to score this week. I feel really good about rolling Gordon out. I go Gordon over Breida just because you're never going to get a touchdown with Breida. And I don't get it. I don't get why they don't want him to score. But they pull him for Jeff Wilson. They pull him for Mostert. So when it's a tough, in between the 20s D line, a front seven, and that's where the Steelers are strong, I don't love Breida this week. He's probably going to get his short 80 yards, nice floor. He's looked great still. He's fantastic in that scheme. But ultimately, I'm going to go Josh Gordon there. I think he blows up today.
And then he also wants to know Will Fuller or Peyton Barber.
I keep going Will Fuller.
Me too.
And he hasn't really come through for us. Point, right? But he's still healthy, so you got to get your one blow up out of him before he disappears. And Houston's facing who this week? Who off the top of my head I can't think of it. Chargers. Nothing overly intimidating since they've been dinged up in their secondary. Could be a sneaky shootout style game. That's when Watson's at his most dangerous. So yeah, I do lean Will Fuller there. You can't just go Peyton Barber, especially in PPR. Just like blah. All right, let's cover Antonio Brown real quick. I don't even know where to begin. Where do you want to start, Siege?
Obviously it was cut.
Released.
Yeah,
I guess that's a good place to start. Yeah.
It seemed like Belichick was fine with what was happening in Oakland. Well, not fine with it, but he didn't care. It wasn't like in their house. It wasn't in their locker room, whatever. Gave him another chance, and then obviously he intimidates this girl again on a text with like 7 people while he was inside the Patriots locker room. He's
so stupid.
He's a fucking insane person. So yeah, he tweeted out today that he's not going to be playing in the NFL anymore because of basically him giving up the $40 million that was guaranteed. He thinks he should be paid that.
Right. Fucking moron. Yeah. Isn't it? It's insane too. He goes from literally $30 million guaranteed to $9 million guaranteed to making $150,000 on the 2019 season. So at this point, you can't expect to see Antonio Brown the rest of the year, maybe ever in his career. To be honest, I hope he gets help. He just seems like he's truly lost his mind.
Yeah.
Like this is not a good human being,
like
and he's also exactly
an insane person.
He has gone completely psycho. He starts to call out. Like it seemed like it was gonna at least be a nice breakup here, thanking Brady, thanking Belichick.
Yeah, and then Sunday. And then I think he probably got the itch. He was probably like showed up at like MetLife. He's like, oh wait, I'm not on the team anymore.
Exactly right. and then he suddenly tweets out, Robert Kraft gets hand jobs, or maybe not word for word, but like Robert Kraft gets rubbed, did I get cut, like things like that. He's starting to call Shannon
Sharp, Big Ben, and then now he's talking about a Patriots fan that threatened a Sports Illustrated writer.
He just lost his mind completely. So don't expect to see Antonio Brown in 2019. If you burned your second-round pick on him, shame on you. You could have told he was a lunatic. But what a roller coaster, like 3 weeks of owning Antonio Brown.
Dude, last week I couldn't get over watching him in a Patriots game.
It looked amazing, right? Yeah, it's like, I can't believe this. He's a Patriot.
Feels like it didn't even happen.
Just a 1 week little like floating dream that we just kind of moved through the atmosphere. But complete nutcase. Done with him. And at that point now, you kind of look at what are the Patriots receivers like long-term here. We wrote an article first about how they're diminishing, target share is going to make them volatile. That's being Julian, that being Josh Gordon. But now with him removed, I really think you can go back to relying on both Julian Edelman, and I think Gordon comes right back into his quality wide receiver 2, elite wide receiver 3 status. And also, let's not forget Philip Dorsett had 120 yards and 2 TDs, the biggest performance yet of a Patriots receiver without Antonio Brown in the lineup. Had those 5 catches for 50 yards with Brady in the preseason dress rehearsal. Ultimately, I love him, and he's only 12% owned right now. So I think that's a great little stash is Philip Dorsett. So check him out if you haven't yet and he's still out there in your leagues, because we do know Gordon's no lock to stay on the field. As much as I love the guy and hope he does, he certainly has his own issues. And if he gets removed and Dorsett becomes the number 2, plus Edelman injury concerns, like there's a good path for Dorsett already to have meaningful value as the 3rd receiver, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him the number 2 at a certain point either.
The last regular season games, Brady's 26 for 26 targeting Dorsett.
Really?
Yeah.
It's amazing, and they're deep balls. I mean, and it looks great when he does it. So I love Dorsett moving forward. Big fan of owning him. He's just so under owned right now. Moving on now to Mark Andrews, and then we'll hit a few more sit-start questions, but he's pretty quick to cover here. What's the latest you have on him?
Schefter just tweeted that he is active.
Officially active, so we don't even have to dig into it. It was a 50-50 shot earlier today. Ian Rappaport says expected to play.
I know he was your TE2 coming in.
No. I mean, he's had the injury all year, and clearly it hasn't hampered him. He's the number 1 tight end in fantasy right now, and he's only playing 50% of the snaps, and he just gets it done. All preseason, they raved about how this guy is the best. He's crushing it. And clearly that it's the case. He's the number 1 vein of that passing offense right now. Now the weather is really sketchy there. We're going to cover that in a little bit, but Mark Andrews, don't be worried about him. He's still my tight end 2 for the week. I'd roll him out pretty much over anyone. If you have like Evan Ingram or Zach Ertz, then maybe go those guys above him. But even still, that's questionable in my opinion. What's the, were you looking up the weather over there?
Yeah, it doesn't really look that bad, actually.
Yeah, mostly cloudy for like the second half of the game, scattered thunderstorms.
Yeah, thunderstorms. So, I mean, there could be a delay at some point, possibly around like 2 or 3, but that's it. Oh no, they made it sound a lot worse.
Yeah, it's not that bad. And as we're watching, CJ's going to start rallying off your sit starts, but we've been, had a great audience on Facebook. It's our first time doing this, and what really helped us, Diego, guys like you, I hope you're watching. It looks like Jordan, some of our big fans have followed us here. We really appreciate that. If you don't mind, again, sharing this out to any groups or things that you watch fantasy football stuff with,
link,
you just copy and paste the link in. If you don't mind liking the post now that you found it, all those little things help us get found, help us grow. It's been huge. We had over 100 live viewers at one point last week. We had over 200 comments, and we want to hit 100 again, even though this is a new platform. So keep the comments coming in, keep those sit starts coming in,
and
share it out.
The YouTube page. We do our podcast clips, bunch of highlights, stuff like that.
Yeah, if this is your first time here, we do a lot of different stuff on YouTube than we do anywhere else too. So thank you guys again. We're up to 5 likes. Come on, we're gonna answer all your questions. Give us some likes, give us some shares. It means the world to us, and we hope to get you those wins. It gives you good karma for your fantasy Sunday. So keep them coming, guys, and thanks again for tuning in. Let's get to some of your sit starts before we then cover the Eagles wide receiver
situations. We got another one from Jake Knight. He wants to know Stafford, Cousins, or Jimmy G.
Stafford, Cousins, or Jimmy G? Oh, man, I'm definitely not Cousins. Fuck Cousins. Even though the Raiders, that's where you beat them. I still would lean one of the other two.
They just don't pass the ball.
I personally, oh man, that's tough, right? Because Jimmy G, fresh off, a 3 TD day, looked like a beast. That just really comes down to, does Mason Rudolph keep that game close, or are they just going to become, pounded out? I want to lean Stafford. I feel like that game has a better shot at a shootout. And it just feels a little safe to me. He only is, a week removed from 385 yards and 3 TDs. I think we see that type of Stafford with Carson Wentz getting it done on the other side of the ball. I have more faith in that game remaining a shootout than the other one.
Yeah, they got bombed last week, too.
Yeah.
Ronald Darby got toasted.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a big fan. Yeah, they have no secondary. Their secondary has been horrible for years. What else do we
Jacob
got? We'll
Beatty, I'm not sure of the scoring settings, but he wants to know David Montgomery or Frank Gore.
I go Frank Gore, and I literally have that 19 and 20. It's as close as can be. But whereas Gore is locked in, I know exactly what he's going to get because Devin Singletary's out. I guess we're already covering this news. Devin Singletary's out. They're facing Cincinnati, who just gave up 3 touchdowns on the ground to the 49ers. I really think Frank Gore can get it done. I think he's going to fall into the end zone at least twice this week. Only 4,400 on DraftKings, too. I love him. As much as I loved Montgomery's, 17, 18 touches last week, that makes me feel a lot better about him long term. You never know if they're going to just suddenly decide, let's go Mike Davis again. I want to see it 2 weeks in a row before I fully.
They could get up on the Redskins.
They should. I like Montgomery. He's a good play. I just know Gore's going to get 15 to 20 carries against the team giving up the most points to running backs this year. That's just safer. I can see, then I can gauge, Montgomery, is he going to be a beast moving forward, all that good stuff. So, yeah, that's where I lean.
Seamus, short guy 18, wants to know.
Is that Seamus's name? Short guy 18? Oh my God, Seamus, come on.
He wants to know to take the risk with Marlon Mack or start Johnson. I don't know which Johnson.
Yeah, you got to probably do it because if it's David, you wouldn't be asking. I would still hope for Mack there. You got to track that. Another bit of news we're going to cover today is are Marlon Mack, is T.Y. Hilton going to play? But ultimately, if he suits up, Duke Johnson's just so inconsistent right now. So yeah, we gotta track that one. It looks like we got a ton of comments. Yeah. It looks like our show is right back rolling. That's why we fucking love you guys coming over to YouTube with us, and we apologize for the inconvenience. We should be back on Facebook next week. But if this goes well, then fuck them. They blocked us because who knows? Trying to keep us down. The little guys won't be cut down. But let's cover the Eagles wide receivers real quick. There's definitely some injuries going on there, CJ. What do we got?
Yeah, so right now, Alshon Jeffrey is unlikely to play, so it's just really leaving Aguilar at this point. And then,
because Djax is out already, right?
Yeah.
Groin or something?
Yeah, him, Matt Collins, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Mm-hmm. And Dallas Goedert has been upgraded to a game-time decision. I'd say he's probably going to play.
It seems like it. Yeah, it seems like he's trending in the right way. So last week, Aguilar, over 100 yards and a TD against obviously a pathetic secondary there. I am a little worried he now draws Darius Slay as the clear-cut number 1, but they move him around a lot. They put him in the slot. They've said he's going to inherit a lot of those deep routes that Deshaun Jackson went. Only 3,600 on DraftKings right now. Kind of a must-play at that price point because he should be that number 1 target alongside Zach Ertz, who gets a huge bump in looks. He had 16 targets last week. I think he sees another 12 to 15. I think I only have him at tight end 4. I probably have to bump that up now when I think about it, talking out loud. So Ertz is going to definitely have his best day of the season, in my opinion. I think Aguilar goes for another 100 in TD. He should have had 170 and 2 TDs. Did you see him drop that ball at the end? Oh, brutal. And that's the pain with Aguilar. Is he's so quick and shifty and can get deep, but drops and mental mistakes have kind of plagued him his whole career. But ultimately, I love him this week. I would stream him. I think I'm like wide receiver 30. Right below John Ross, if that gives you a good measuring gauge. I wouldn't bench Ross at this point. He's been just crushing it. But right up there in that Ross territory.
So I haven't watched a full Eagles game probably since the Super Bowl. I just watched it on Red Zone.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz is so fucking weird. He'll die for a few plays. He sucked the entire.
It's like Matt Breida of the quarterbacks.
And then he looks like he's like Pat Mahomes in the second half. He's so up and down and he's so great, but he sucks.
When he's good though, I mean he throws a beautiful ball. Yeah, exactly. That's like Matt Breida dies on the field. Yeah. And he's back in another series and throws an 80-yard bomb right in the breadbasket.
And then Josh McCown being the backup, it's wild.
He's nasty. I love Josh McCown.
I was so confused. He comes in, I was like, wait, he's on his 25th team.
I thought
he retired.
I've always been a huge Josh McCown fan. So just to reiterate again, Aguilar, huge, great stream play. Still out there in over half of leagues too. It was only 7% owned going into the week. But if you need a flex, you need a wide receiver to fix any issues, he's the guy. KC weather, we already talked about. Torrential downpours early in the day. The field's already soaked by what they're saying. It does look like it's going to clear up. We can only hope so because that matchup's going to be incredible. Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, both come in with 7 touchdowns with perfect quarterback ratings. They've been lighting up the NFL. And now we get a showdown between those two. I can't wait. Maybe comment in right now. Who do you think's going to win?
So we do have an update on
the weather?
No, Alshon Jeffrey is out.
Officially out for Alshon Jeffrey. Don't do the Marlon Mack stuff yet. We'll get there and whatnot.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, we got. Who do you think's going to win? Ravens or Chiefs? It's in KC, right?
Yeah, I think Kansas City. They're just too much offense. I still, even though I think just like from a real perspective, not fantasy, I still don't believe that Lamar Jackson can.
This would be a great test.
Shootout with Mahomes.
Yeah, exactly. Like this, he's made some great throws, but let's think about the defenses he's been going against: Miami, Arizona, probably the two worst, legitimately the two worst secondaries in the NFL right now.
If the Chiefs go up 14 points, is he going to be able to throw the ball?
Exactly. And I mean, the Chiefs secondary isn't anything intimidating. I'm still playing Lamar Jackson, no doubt about it.
I'm just talking about real life.
But real life wise, right, is he going to make these throws when he's actually down, when the chips are stacked against him? I think he can. He was always a baller in college and just has that mental toughness. So I believe in the guy. But yeah, bad conditions, a better secondary, definitely a better D-line that can get to him, get some more pressure on him. It's going to be interesting to see how he responds. I still don't count this as a true test, especially because they are going to have to, be going back and forth. So I still think we're at least a week or two away from Lamar Jackson faces a real defense and a real test here.
They have the Patriots later in the season.
Yeah. November 6th, I want to say. That's going to be unbelievable. That's the game I'm going to try to go to actually for our away game. But yeah, so ultimately, the weather could be a little bit of a factor getting in the way of what we think is going to be one of the best games of the week. Can't wait to see it. And, you guys saw those guys. Now, in terms of the running backs, we'll get to all your questions after this. Then we have another whole menu of news to cover. But it looks like we got a ton to cover. So we'll hit 10 questions right after this. But I do want to make sure to cover their running backs. We know Damian Williams is out with a knee injury. We still don't really know exactly what the injury is. It's like a contusion, they say. But then, who knows how long. He was reportedly walking with a noticeable limp on Thursday. That sounds like it could be multi-week.
Did he come back into the game?
No, he left. And then, LaShawn McCoy gets 11 straight carries and gets 23 yards on him. Looked horrible. Yeah. He injures his ankle. He has an MRI. Nothing structurally. He is active. But he is active. Yeah. He's officially active. There's optimism he was going to play. But there's also reports they might rein him in so he doesn't flare up. I'd be nervous. A lot of sites are labeling McCoy a high-end RB2 because he's the lead guy in this offense right now. I'd be real nervous. One, Baltimore gives up the least points to running backs. Two, the weather isn't great, which sometimes favors running backs because they know where they're going before the defender, obviously. But I don't know. And Shady does play great in snow and wet conditions too. He has a ridiculous montage of those games. But if that ankle's not right, that saps him of what he does the best. I wouldn't be shocked to see it flare up.
The field's shitty. They play on grass.
Exactly. Yeah. Gets caught in the turf and twists it a little bit, and he's right out. That's happened so many times with Shady. In all honesty, I'd be nervous to start him. A lot of guys I have above him. So if you have a LaShawn McCoy question, make sure you get that in. And I would 100% make sure I'm stashing Darwin Thompson in my leagues. I picked him up in everywhere. He was only 20% owned coming into Thursday.
I think even after the news, I think he was still at 27%.
Yeah, he was like 15% coming into the week. We got up to like 25 or so by Thursday. I think he's still only around 30. If Darwin Thompson's out there, you have to stash this guy. We raved about him all preseason. He's their most explosive back. He gets it done in the pass game. He's a ball of muscle. He can get it done at the goal line. It just hasn't been getting used quite often because he's still catching up on pass protection, said the reports. And that's often the case with rookies. But if he gets in there and this offense just ignites with him in the backfield, he's going to get his looks today too. I don't see them going back, and if he takes over that role, we all know how valuable a lead back in Andy Reid's system behind Pat Mahomes. I mean, Damian Williams, 10 touchdowns, 6 games last year. Darwin Thompson could do that, so why not pick him up right now, stash him, see what happens? There's really no more upside than that. If McCoy goes down and you got a full game of this guy, I wouldn't start him quite yet unless you're really desperate, let us know. But ultimately, I would love to see what this guy does. Alrighty, that's it for the first slide of menus. We're going to pull up the next one so you see what's coming, but we know we have a ton of comments to get to, and that's the point of this show, is to get to your questions. So that's the other news blurbs we're going to cover. It should be up on the screen now, but let's hit some of these questions.
All right, Jacob Beatty, start 2 receivers, full PPR. Aguilar, Galladay, John Ross, and Robert Woods.
Great core right there. I mean, Galladay is my locked-in number 1 there. That Eagles secondary, we just talked about how bad they are. They're awful. So Galladay, coming off, 150 and a TD or so last week, you can't sit him in this juicy matchup as good as it gets. Between the other 3, did you say, PPR, what it is?
Full PPR.
I kind of like Woods with Denzel Ward out. Just the safest guy, the biggest name. I mean, obviously Ross has been lighting it up, but I still would be a little bit nervous. If I had a great option, I wouldn't, play Ross over him. And I love the Aguilar stream. We raved about it, but Woods, without their top coverage there, everything shifts. And I can see him in a full PPR game catching 7-8 balls. That's the highest floor. Now, Beatty, if you're an underdog,
Goff does suck on the road.
He does suck,
and
that's
a real thing.
It is a very real thing. It's like Big Ben a couple of years ago. So yeah, that is a little bit nerve wracking. But I think with that secondary banged up, the Rams are going to get it done in the pass game. So I lean Woods. But yeah, I mean, you got some great options behind him. That's a really nice core. So let us know where you're leaning. You got to trust your gut on that one because that's 4 great options there, Beatty. But personally, I would lock in Galladay. That's like the no-brainer. And then, Woods is the guy I would personally play if I was in your situation.
All right, Jordan Teat wants to know.
My guy, good to see you, brother.
Half PPR for his flex, Cooper Kupp, Josh Jacobs, or DK Metcalf?
Cooper Kupp, Josh Jacobs, DK Metcalf. I go Kupp.
Yeah.
Half PPR. Jacobs, a good guy to kind of cover real quick. Early in the week, lost 10 pounds by sickness. He's now facing Minnesota. There's rumblings that he's going to lose some passing game work to help him get back up to full health and full speed. He's not listed on the injury report with anything right now, but I'm nervous of him. If I had a decent option, I'd probably bench him, and Kupp is more than a decent option. So yeah, I go him. And DK, yeah, he's blowing up, but who knows if they're going to need that throughout the day.
Chris DeIndia.
Our guy, yeah.
Half PPR, AP, Malcolm Brown, or Carlos Hyde in the flex?
AP, Malcolm Brown, Hyde. I lean Hyde there. This is shocking. Hyde's 5th in the league in rushing right now. I don't know if you knew that.
I saw
he's literally 5th
on NFL's YouTube.
Isn't that insane? He's 5th in the league in rushing right now. He hasn't found the end zone, but the Chargers, they've given up a ton. They give up 173 yards on the ground to Marlon Mack, and that was mostly in the second half. Hyde's been getting fed. 20 carries last week, 18 the week before. He's the guy we thought Duke Johnson was going to be. They're not making Duke their featured back, unfortunately. We were wrong about that. Apologies for all of you that took that dive on Duke. He's still going to get his passing game work and whatnot, but ultimately this is Hyde's backfield. I think he's the best bet at a touchdown out of those because, AP's against Chicago. That's never a fun matchup to face. The other one, who's the other one he had there?
Malcolm Brown.
Malcolm Brown. I think he's a decent bet to find the end zone too, but out of those 2, Hyde's definitely the better and safer bet for carries.
That Rams goal line hammer.
Yeah, I love him, man. I do.
All right, sick name here. Anurag Maka. PPR,
Nice.
Nelson Aguilar, John Brown, or Mecole?
We're going John Brown there. I love John Brown against Cincy. That's a great matchup. And again, I love Aguilar. I think a lot of these questions are going to come in because we covered him as the ideal streamer. But John Brown has been such a safe, steady target already. Was, clearly the number 1 all of camp, they said. And that's translated. Their chemistry's all over the field, too. It's not just like John Brown, you get a deep ball, you get nothing. He's getting it done in the short game. They're putting him in the slot for 30% of his snaps. This guy is lighting it up. He's a true high-end wide receiver, too, in my opinion, all year.
Now we got Josh's BlackBerry.
Hey, Josh, on a BlackBerry.
Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield?
I'm going to go Josh Allen there. Again, Cincinnati,
starting him.
pathetic defense. Yeah, and Baker's been good, not great at all, though.
He's definitely not our QB2.
No, we were so high on him. And I think eventually they get it together. But that line is really kind of handicapping what this team can do. Now, we saw signs, the Odell Beckham 89-yard touchdown. They're going to start getting these guys used the right way. But ultimately right now, Allen coming off a 20-point day, facing Cincinnati. I think he gets in for at least 1 on the ground, at least 2 through the air, probably 4 total touchdowns for this guy. And only like 5,900, I want to say, on DraftKings too. So I'm a big fan of Josh Allen, my QB7 this week.
All right, Abe wants to know Robert Woods or Carlos Hyde standard.
Robert Woods. Standard makes it a little different, but I still lean Woods just because what if the Chargers get up huge, that becomes a Duke Johnson. Like Hyde could get game float as much as I just raved about him if they do get down big. Hyde is the better bet for a touchdown, though, for a standard league. I don't know. I go Woods, I think. Do you disagree? I don't know. That's
standard.
tough.
I'd probably go with Hyde. I
Yeah.
feel like it's the higher floor, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's going to get probably 15 touches.
15 carries, yeah. I'm going to go Woods, though. I'm just feeling a decent day from Woods this week.
And then
we'll get 2 more questions, then we're going to cover some of the
These two
news
kind
we
of
have
go
lined
into
up.
each other. 16 Miami and Matt B. Well, 16's asking, what do you think of T.Y. Hilton? And then Matt B's question is T.Y. Hilton, Calvin Ridley, or DJ Moore?
We have T.Y. Hilton coming up on the list here. Yeah. So we'll just cover him now. He's expected to play. He's been great all year. I think he's right around like 35 to 40% of their target share. Brissett's only looking at this guy, 3 touchdowns in 2 games. And now he gets an Atlanta secondary that's just been getting routinely destroyed. We saw Aguilar go off for over 100 in a TD and should have had way more. So as a deep threat and one of the best deep threats in the game, I love Hilton to find the end zone. I'm going to go him over all those other options. Definitely going to have him out there this week. As long as he's playing. Is there any official news yet?
T.Y. and Marlon Mack both active.
Both active, so it's official. They're both playing. And I'd probably have both of them in my lineup in most cases, just because Atlanta gets bled running back receptions too. And so Mack could get a ton of those. I really like T.Y. Hilton this week, though. He's a must-play, in my opinion. And we said we're going to just take those 2. We'll get to all your questions in a sec, but
I think we should grab some more because we have, I'd say almost 50 or so.
Sweet. We'll get there. We do want to cover, in case this helps any questions or brings any more up, Rashaad Penny is going to be out. It's not official yet, unless did it pop up yet if it's official?
I think they're 4 o'clock, I think.
Oh, okay. So he's not expected to suit up. It was a late addition with a hamstring, and it sounds like they're just being cautious. It's not something to be overly concerned about long term, but he's going to be getting treatment, which is huge because Carson is fresh off getting benched for fumbling and Penny comes in, gets a nice 60-yard touchdown run.
A sick run.
He looked pretty good. So this is great for Carson to kind of reestablish himself. If any issues pop up, he's still that leash is a little bit longer when they don't have Penny sitting there behind him. And Carson's only 5,900 on DraftKings too, so he shoots right back up into my top 12 running backs. That RB1 locked in. Saints are better against the run than they are the pass, but I think Carson's a great bet to find the end zone as that locked in, unquestioned number 1 guy. So if you have a question about Carson versus XYZ because you're nervous about last week, my most likely response is going to be playing Chris Carson. I really like him this week. Cam Newton, what's going on with him?
Sucks.
Sucks. Not much else to say.
So he re-aggravated his foot injury, I believe, from the preseason against the Patriots. And so he's out right now. And then who the hell knows at this point?
Kyle Allen?
Yeah, so Kyle Allen, the AFL MVP basically is now.
I honestly don't hate playing him on DraftKings today either. $4,000 for Kyle Allen. Bare minimum quarterback price. They're facing a secondary that doesn't exist. Arizona is giving up the most passing yards to QBs. And Kyle Allen, I would consider this maybe an upgrade for the wide receivers at this point, the way Cam Newton's just chucking it over their head every other play.
So we have a revenge game today.
Oh, yeah?
So Kyle Allen beat out Kyler Murray at Texas A&M and forced Murray
out
to Oklahoma.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that. That's an intriguing storyline.
Kyle Allen's the best quarterback to ever come out of Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. So we got air raid versus air raid, folks. I'm actually really excited about that matchup. I think there could be a ton of points going on the board, ton of passing yards. Big fan of stacking Kyle Allen and like Curtis Samuel, both dirt cheap, or getting Greg Olsen in there. They've given up over 100 yards to both tight ends they've faced. The Cardinals have their linebackers are getting the worst coverage grade, so Olsen was going to have a big day. I think everybody has a decent day there.
Ian Hart's really high on Samuel this week.
Yeah, I'm playing Samuel over a lot of people this week. So Cam Newton, that's the latest on him. And then the last one I want to cover, because I know a lot of your sit starts could involve this, is Devin Singletary is out. We've already gotten one question about Frank Gore, but with Singletary out, there's really no one else there. I mean, Yeldon might take some passing game snaps, but this is going to be the Frank Gore show. I expect 15 to 20 carries and at least 2 touchdowns for this guy facing Cincinnati, a pathetic defense, especially against the run. They just gave up 3 TDs to back up 49er running backs. So I really think Gore, a great bet to find the end zone. My RB 18 for the week, very high on him. He's only 4,400 on DraftKings, so another play similar to Aguilar with everyone else around him going out becomes a massive steal. Probably will be pretty chalky, pretty highly owned, but I really like Frank Gore today. All right, let's get to some questions, because I know, CJ, you said we had a million, and that's the point of the show, is to get to your guys' questions.
All right, Jordan T wants to know, full PPR, Royce Freeman or Darwin Thompson?
Royce Freeman or Darwin Thompson? I go Royce there. I feel like the Royce takeover is kind of in the process. Yep. And you were right about that one. I'll admit it. I was so high on Lindsey, and I still am. But Royce has looked really, really good. I think he got banged up pretty early last year and just never was really quite himself. He looks really powerful. I mean, against the Bears, that as good of a defense as you can find. He had over 100 total yards. The receiving game involvement's what's really surprised me. I think he had over 8 targets last week. He's an every down back right now. Yes, Phillip Lindsay's going to be worked in too and might be the first guy out there, but it seems to me they are transitioning to Royce. And so when you're down that, to those type of options, I lean Royce in a decent matchup against the Packers too. They're giving up, I think, the 8th most points, something around that range, to running backs. I like Royce this week.
Then we have another Darwin Thompson question. Darwin Thompson or Tariq Cohen full PPR?
I mean, at that point, I might go Darwin. We just raved about picking him up. You must stash Darwin. In 90% of chances, are going to start someone else over him because he's only got 2 carries so far. We haven't seen it actually happen in a real game yet. The matchup's really tough. The weather could be brutal. So you could be looking at a complete dud, like a complete zero. Who knows if he's even going to touch the field. That all being said, I mean, Tariq Cohen, what are you really hoping for? Who do they have again? The Bears?
The Redskins. Monday night.
I mean, I might go Cohen. That's a bad secondary. Cohen? I could see him scoring on a screen
I don't
early.
get what they're doing with Cohen, though. Because he only played, 4 running back snaps week 1, and then he barely was a slot receiver last week.
Yeah.
I think he had 2 slot receivers.
Strange usage. I would have a hard time trusting Darwin. He could truly blow up, especially if McCoy flares up, if he's the running back that gains the traction on this wet field. There's definitely scenarios where Thompson destroys it and lights it up, but we have literally nothing to go on yet in terms of real season action. We're only basing our love for him on preseason. I want to see him get it done before I use him, and Cohen at least a shot to get in the end zone, so I'll go safer there unless you're very desperate for that 20-point blow up. Cohen's not going to get you that. He might get you 10 as a receiver. So I don't know though. It's is Cohen even worth playing? Really?
I don't really care about him, to tell you the truth.
Maybe you just go with the upside of Darwin.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Darwin.
Just give yourself a little thrill in the pants and go with Darwin.
This is a good problem to have. Start Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, asks Devda11.
Great dilemma, but you're never benching Pat Mahomes. I mean, there would be very, very, unless Lamar Jackson's facing, the easiest matchup.
Would you deal Lamar Jackson if you were him?
I might sell high if I had that.
Quarterback injuries. And everything.
Yeah, I would. Mahomes, he's God. Yeah. I'm not gonna wood, but I love Patty Mahomes. There's very, very few times that I would bench Pat Mahomes.
Get something good in return to it.
Yeah, you could probably exactly. So yeah, I would try to pack up LJ. Get yourself a nice, high-end wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 1, or same with the running backs. But yeah, you're never benching Pat Mahomes. I mean, look what he's done with Tyreek Hill out of the lineup. He's still throwing 405 every week. That's insane. It doesn't matter.
There are 4 touchdowns in the second quarter.
It's insanity. It's literally insanity. He got Demarcus Robinson going for 160 and 2 TDs. It doesn't matter. As good as Tyreek Hill is, it doesn't matter. I was nervous it would matter without him in the lineup. It doesn't. It doesn't. Pat Mahomes is that
I
fucking
think
good.
he's already the most talented quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
He might be, yeah. I mean, legitimately, like, who's better? Who has a better arm? Like, yes, he walked into a great situation with Andy Reid and great weapons, but, like, nobody's thrown a ball like this guy can, and he's got balls. Like, I love him. I fucking love Pat Mahomes. Like, you never bench Pat Mahomes.
The fake CJ is asking Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins, or Josh Gordon.
Who's the fake CJ?
No, just a CJ. There's only one.
So it's Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins, or Gordon.
Josh Gordon, pick 2 for standard.
I go Watkins is my locked-in one. I mean, he had a down week last week, sure, but he still saw 13 targets. Like, the fact that the other guys played well only helps to make sure that, Watkins isn't just triple-teamed and whatnot. And then I probably lean Woods as much as I like Gordon. Standard league, I guess Gordon is the better bet for a score, but I go Woods. Let's hope. Last week was benching Aaron Jones was my call that I kept making, which clearly did not work out. This week's it's start Robert Woods, so call of the week has not been too great, but we're gonna go Robert Woods this week. He's gonna be my start.
Andrew Stallings, our guy, is asking Mostert or Burkhead now that James White's last second scratch hurts him.
Mostert or Burkhead?
And shout out to me for looking damn good today. So.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Clean.
The lighting must be really nice. It is. Did you shave? Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
nice shave. It's real fresh. You guys should be jealous that you don't get to do that. It feels real nice. But I go, I think I'm leaning Burkhead there. I know Mostert's coming off a pretty big day, but Wilson's the rumored goal line back. You got Breida locked into the early down between the 20s role. It's like Mostert's going to be a change of pace. He's going to come in, but he had a couple big plays last week, and that's really what helped him thrive. I don't know. He does look good in the system.
They said Jeff Wilson's going to be inside the 20 back.
Whereas Burkhead, we know he's in that James Wright locked-in role, and he's always done well with volume. I think Burkhead finds the end zone today. I love him at 3,900. Let's cover that real quick here. It's the next note on here. Is James White's out? His wife is going to give birth today, they say. So congratulations to the White family. But obviously, I'm sure they're tuned in at the hospital watching the fantasy tailgate.
What's up with the Patriots having all their babies during the season? I bet Belichick's pissed about that.
Yeah, seriously.
Calvin,
time your sex the right way, folks. Like selfish pricks having babies in the season. Come on. But James White won't be there, which means Burkhead probably steps into that third down role. Now the issue
Damian
with trusting
Harris
him,
is active.
Damian Harris is officially active. So I'm intrigued to see how he's used. He might be worth that speculative stash if he gets all the goal line usage and thrives today. If Sony gets hurt and he comes in, check if Damian Harris is out there. I personally dropped him in a couple leagues for Darwin Thompson, but that means he could be lingering in your league. Probably worth that speculative ad if he is there for you. Burkhead at 3,900 on DraftKings I really like. The only risk with trusting him is, this is a 20-point favorite. The Patriots are going to kill this Jets team on the third-string quarterback. I could see them taking the air out of the ball and it becoming like a Damian Harris day for 20 carries. Let's try out the rookie. So ultimately, I do like Burkhead, but I wouldn't be shocked to see this become game flow where it's just run the entire second half.
Thunberg wants to know full PPR: Chris Carson, Chris Thompson, Duke Johnson, or Darwin Thompson.
You're going Chris Carson's by far the best option there, Tunes, and I'm glad you found us here on YouTube Live. Appreciate all you guys that have come over from Facebook. Maybe reshare it and just say, we're still live answering questions. There he is. He's on top of it. And go on Facebook, too, I would say. Just repost it there in case people keep looking for it. But back to your question, Tunes. Carson's by far the number one option, especially with Rashaad Penny out. Lock him in. And then from there, it gets a little bit trickier. I wouldn't play Darwin Thompson. Too uncertain, as we've already talked about. Who were the other two guys? Do you remember for Tunes?
Chris Thompson, Duke Johnson, and Darwin Thompson. Oh, Chris Thompson, Duke Johnson, and Darwin Thompson.
I would go Chris Thompson there. Catch-up mode.
Chris Carson.
Yeah, Chris Carson's locked in. Yeah. It's two of them, right?
No, just one.
Oh, Carson. I thought it was two guys. Yeah, you're locking in Carson. Sorry, I spent way too much time on that one.
The names are too similar.
Chris Carson, yeah.
Marco Escobar. Sounds like a Coke dealer. This is
where
I'm
good
at.
Stuff, brother?
He's asked Joe Mixon or Miles Sanders.
Joe Mixon or Miles Sanders? Mixon.
I'm not getting off of Joe Mixon.
It's time for the Mixon. I'm getting a lot of questions about him this week. Let's give him one more week, folks. I'm one of them too. So just like last week, I went down with the Aaron Jones ship. I'll go down with the Joe Mixon ship if I have to. But I'm all in on him. I think he's going to rebound. He tweeted out his nice little apology to his owners, or not owners, but his Bengals fans. I think he's going to get it right this week. And Miles Sanders, it's like, if you have a decent option, okay, maybe we consider it, but Sanders is locked into a timeshare. We don't know how often he's going to be used. He hasn't really looked good when he's been used either. I'm off of him until congestion clears up, and who knows if it actually is. So you got to give Joe Mixon another shot. I think this is the week we finally get the Mixon we all paid for.
Pat Bailey wants to know.
Hey, Pat from the Rockies. His first show. Did he say that?
Yeah, Pat from the Rockies. So he needs 2: Demarcus Robinson, Deebo Samuel, Keyshawn Johnson, and Mike Williams. It's a solid young core.
Yeah, that's if I had a keeper league, I'd be pumped. We already raved about Deebo, and I'm gonna roll him out against Pittsburgh. I love the usage. I love his ability to get deep against the secondary that gets routinely dusted deep. I'm not going Keyshawn Johnson. Mike Williams versus Demarcus Robinson. Williams looked real good last week. For all the reports that he wasn't healthy.
That diving catch was ridiculous.
That's insane. So as high upside as Demarcus Robinson is, the weather there, who knows if it's a 1 week flash. I don't know. I don't know if I'm fully bought in to Demarcus Robinson yet. So if I had a guy like Mike Williams, and they have no corners there in the Houston secondary, he's going to body someone up for a touchdown. Like so I go Deebo and Mike. You agree with that?
Yep. And just in general, do you like Mecole or Demarcus Robinson better?
I like Mecole. If I had a choice between the two, I think he's the faster, more explosive guy. Once Tyreek Hill comes back, I think he's going to be the one that has the more locked and rolled. Now, Mahomes has more time developing a rapport with Robinson. I could be completely wrong on that. I don't even know if one versus the other. It's just going to be which one's open for that 70-yard bomb that Mahomes is going to find. They're both going to have those upside moments. The Ravens did just give up 370 yards to Kyler Murray. That's tough. It's tough to sit anybody in that offense, but I like Williams and I like Deebo.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And again, before we get to any more questions, just one more plug to if you're liking the show, you want to help us grow, please give it a share. Please give it a like if we've given you any help throughout this season. It really does help us out. And now that we're not on our natural platform like Facebook for today, anytime you can drop this into a group or anything that you share fantasy football advice with, it would mean the world to us. So thank you guys for again finding us here on the spot. And we want to make sure to plug the app. We got to get a little thing running on the bottom. I'll make that for next week. We already have 100 downloads in the first week, which was better than we'd ever expected. So thank you, Wolfpack, who's downloaded it. We've gotten great feedback so far that it's really nice and cleanly laid out. Derek Miller did a fantastic job on that. And we have more updates coming with the season-long big board with a questionnaire form, all this great stuff coming in the app. So if you don't have it yet, just search Roto Street Journal in your app store. I think you can even search RSJ and it might pop up.
Yeah, especially because we've kind of had troubles with our mobile website.
Yeah, the mobile website's flaring up a little bit. So if you're having those issues, and every Monday, Tuesday, and oftentimes bleeding into Wednesday, we just fill it with stock watches that you need to know, waiver wire advice, all that good stuff. So tune in on there. Check out the app. It's been fantastic. And last, I just want to make sure to cover this last note of the day. Mack and Hilton, as CJ already told us, are both active. So most cases, I'm rolling them both out there. It's a good matchup against Atlanta, horrendous Atlanta defense. Especially Hilton. I have pretty much over all but 15 or so wide receivers. Mack a little bit sketchier, just because could get game flowed out if the Falcons light it up early. And what if he's the bigger risk in my opinion to flare it up. We've seen Hilton gut it out many a times, whereas Mack doesn't seem to do the same. I'd be a little more nervous about Mack. If you have a question about him, let us know. But ultimately, I'd probably be rolling both those guys out. Rest of the show, your questions, your mailbag, any DFS stuff too, we can cover. But we got a lot to get to, so rapid fire.
Pat also wants to congratulate us for getting kicked off Facebook, but he does want us to know that YouTube is owned by Facebook, so we need to be careful.
Oh, I thought it was owned by Google. No,
I have no idea. Pat's a smart kid. I trust him.
I think it's Google. I'm almost 90% positive Google owns. Pat, you're normally a smart. No, he's not that smart. Don't give him fucking credit. It's Google, you idiot. Come on, get it together.
So J Mars wants to know Vance McDonald or Waller for a half-point PPR.
Vance. I love Vance. Both his touchdowns come from Mason Rudolph. Who knows if that's a sign of things to come? But ultimately, I like Vance. He's finally getting involved.
Staying with J Mars, start to Ingram, Michelle.
Evan Ingram or Mark Ingram?
Mark
Ingram.
Ingram.
Okay.
Mark Ingram, Sony Michelle, or Marlon Mack.
Start two of them. Yeah. I'm going to go Ingram and Michelle. I think they bleed the clock out in the Pats game. Michelle finds the end zone at least once. And you got to like Ingram to find the end zone too in this muddy conditions. I think he just kind of runs wild as well.
Last one from J Mars. Half-point PPR. Pick one. Allen Robinson. Actually, no, it's a standard. Sorry.
Pick one standard.
Allen Robinson, Tyrell Williams, or Manny Sanders.
Manny Sanders. I really like Manny Sanders. He got it done against Chicago. If you can get it done against them, you can get it done against anybody, in my opinion. So I'm a big fan of Manny Sanders.
Thunberg, Matt Ryan or Baker?
Matt Ryan. Shootout game against Indy could be in the works there. I mean, the Rams D is solid. That D line could just destroy that awful offensive line.
Donald might get 15 sacks.
Yeah, exactly. That interior is so pathetic after they traded Zietler. So yeah, I'm gonna go Matt Ryan there. Just much safer.
Another one from Thunberg. I don't know his scoring, but he's asking Hawkinson or Jason Witten.
Probably Hawkinson, but
I think the Cowboys could get up by 40 and just let the old man sit on the bench.
I do love Witten to score a TD this week, but I think it's going to be like one of those, Blaine Jarwin. I like Witten to score this week, but I'd roll Hawkinson if I had both options. He's my favorite streamer, though. Witten, still only 20% owned, or maybe even less than that. One of my favorite streamer tight ends, but ultimately Hawkinson after that week one still blaring in my mind. Philly is much better against the tight end than Arizona is, but I go Hawkinson there.
Josh's Blackberry asking again, half PPR, Brandon Cooks, DK Metcalf, DeMarcus.
Is his name Josh's Blackberry, or is it like...
It's their YouTube name.
Okay.
Probably did it when he, 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So pick one, half PPR, Brandon Cooks, DK, DeMarcus Robinson, or Aguilar.
Oh, Cooks?
I don't love Cooks this week.
Denzel Ward out though?
I don't know.
We're putting a lot of faith in Road Goff if we're recommending Cup Goff. I mean, we're recommending Woods, and that Road Goff sucks. So if not Cooks, which is the name, and it's easy to get drawn to the best name there. I mean, I like Aguilar, I think, a little more than DeMarcus Robinson this week.
Yeah, me too.
I like Aguilar out of that group. Give me Aguilar.
That's what I was going to lean, but
in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd say Aguilar, Cooks, Robinson, Metcalf.
Yeah.
Another one from Thunberg. He's asking, Josh, pick two for the flex. Josh Gordon, Curtis Samuel, Duke Johnson, Jalen Samuels, Darwin Thompson.
None of those last three. So it's two. So it's the first two.
Okay. So
Curtis Samuel and who?
Josh Gordon.
Yeah, those two.
Jared wants to know. He says waiting on the Casey weather and the RB's discussion. So this is from earlier. Sitting on whether to start Chris Thompson or Darwin Thompson.
I'd go Chris. I mean, he's locked in 10 targets in 2 straight weeks. He's gonna. Did he say the settings? It's not standard, right?
I didn't say.
Unless it's standard, because then I think Darwin is the better bet to score. But ultimately, I think Chris is just so locked into his role there.
Miguel wants to know DeMarcus Robinson or Mecole Hardman.
Who? DeMarcus Robinson or Mecole Hardman?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Which Chiefs guy? Like, literally, that's a fucking coin flip. I mean, the Wolf Channel's Mecole Hardman. That's who I would go with. I think they've designed more little, screens for him, but... I don't know. That's fucking impossible. How can someone know
that? Just flip a coin, do whatever you need to do to make the decision.
I would go Mecole though. If my gut tells me Mecole, but that's.
I think that's if you're an underdog, I'd go Mecole because he has the 20-point upside.
Well, so does DeMarcus. They all do.
But he gets targeted more. I feel like.
I don't know.
Mecole's he could be a 3 receptions for 120 and a touchdown. Robinson could be 8 receptions for I don't know.
For 180 and 2 TDs like he had last week. It's the Chiefs. They're both great options. I think Hardman's going to have, I don't know. Who had more snaps, stuff like that. That's a coin flip. That's tough. I would go Mecole personally.
Fatty Mateo wants to know.
Fatty Mateo. Great name.
Flex Kirk, John Brown, McLaurin, or DJ Moore?
Kirk, John Brown, McLaurin, or DJ Moore. I'm going to go John Brown there. And I like DJ Moore against that awful second. I like all those options. They're all really good.
I love McLaurin, but yeah, he's scary against the Bears.
Against the Bears, yeah. McLaurin's awesome, though. I fucking love that guy.
It's the weirdest.
But this week, especially with the matchups, I go John Brown. He's the safest by far with equal, if not higher ceiling than all those guys as well.
Miguel also wants to know disgusting Devonta Freeman or Jeff Wilson.
I mean, as disgusting as Devonta Freeman is, and oh boy, is he disgusting. Yeah, I go him. I mean, Indy's giving up the third most points to running backs on the year. They're also without Darius Leonard today. If ever Devonta Freeman's going to get it done, it's this week. Now, if he doesn't get it done this week, I would hate cut him. I would actually hate cut Devonta Freeman if he can't do it against this team. Then when the fuck else is he gonna do it?
Because then you're stuck with Jeff Wilson. It's like your RB2.
I don't care. Like fuck him. Like, Devonta Freeman. What do you want? Another 3-point day? Like he's literally ruined your season so far. Get rid of that team cancer. If he can't do it against a Darius Leonard list,
Ito actually hasn't looked that bad.
Ito has looked good, and I would not be shocked to see him take over that backfield. I like Ito moving forward. I fucking hate Devonta Freeman. I don't have him in any team, so it's not like a personal vengeance. Because I didn't like him coming into the year. But he's awful. Like, no, you don't have Devonta Freeman in your fucking lineup. Yeah. But this week you do against Jeff Wilson. Like, if that's your option, then yes. Because if he can't get it done this week, he can never get it done. They're going to have the third most points, and that was with Darius Leonard. Now, without him, I mean, Freeman, if ever he's going to blow up, it's going to be this week.
Blazo wants to know
hey, he found us.
half PPR needs one. McLaurin, Fuller, Cumcave, or Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel, I lean there. What about you? That's tough.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just the gut. I don't know what my rankings have.
That's a great group, too. They're all like these...
intriguing, upsidey, young. Like, I like them all, but I think Curtis has a nice day. Kyle Allen can throw a ball, right?
In my brain,
like,
so.
Well, I liked him anyways. I like that Cam Newton's not playing, and I like that the secondary is so bad.
I guess there were a bunch of highlights last year with him hooking up when Cam Newton was hurt, too.
Kyle Allen and those two? Okay. Intriguing. I'm into it.
Anthony wants to know...
I got to fix my rankings to reflect how high I am on Curtis Samuel. I don't think I have him too high.
One for the flex, full PPR, Carry On, Aguilar, or DK.
Because I don't love Carry On ever. I've never been a big Carry On guy. Is this his first week without?
Yeah. I think I'm going to go Carry On.
I'd go Carry On. I mean, if ever he's going to get a workhorse treatment... Philly's defense is really good against running backs, so that D-line is terrifying. So if it happens for Carry On, it's going to be in the pass game, which I think it could happen. I mean, he scored on a screen last week. I don't know. I really do like Aguilar a lot. Is it full PPR?
Yeah. I like Carry On. He's going to get a ton of touches.
Carry On's by far the safest, but I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm going to say personally I go Aguilar, even though I think most should and probably will recommend Carry On. I think Aguilar's going to have 100 in a TD.
Fatty wants to know full PPR for his RB2, Burkhead, Darwin Thompson, and Frank Gore.
Frank Gore.
He currently owns Burkhead and has Burkhead in right now.
I go Gore. Gore's finding the end zone twice today, folks.
Burkhead, the only thing that scares me about Burkhead, I feel like Damian Harris is going to get 3 touchdowns.
Right, exactly. As soon as you think it's going to be Burkhead, that's when Damian Harris gets all the work. I do think Burkhead catches like 6-7 balls and lights up the middle of the field, but Gore is just locked into 15-20 against the worst run defense in the league. Like, let's not overthink this one. 12 points on touchdowns, probably another 70 yards. Like, Gore's going to hit 20 today. What else?
Let me see. Jake Knight wants to know McLaurin, Geronimo, or James Washington PPR.
I don't go Geronimo there, so it comes down to McLaurin, who's just been that clear number one. Cool stat, I wrote this one on McLaurin this week. He's, alongside Keenan Allen, is one of the only 2 wide receivers to have over 50% of his team's air yards. So he's clear-cut, the number one, no doubt about it, wide receiver there, but he is facing Chicago. Now, he got it done against Byron Jones last week, and I don't think Chicago has a cornerback as good as Byron Jones, even if their whole secondary is better. So McLaurin could get it done. I'm not terrified off of the guy for the week.
Yeah.
But, I mean, James Washington has that chemistry. San Fran, the way to beat them is in the passing game.
Still is a huge question mark.
I think I go McLaurin, yeah. Until I see James Washington get it done. I love the upside of him. I'm happy you own him, but let's make sure that chemistry actually translates into real games, not just preseason games. So, yeah, I like McLaurin, the safest option there. Shit, we have a lot today, huh? I like this. Thank you guys for tuning out. I appreciate it. Do we hit 100?
It doesn't say. Wait, 1 second.
We'll find out either way. Diego, CJ, you skipped me, bro.
I looked up, but I couldn't find it.
We can't skip our guy, Diego.
I thought we started off with him.
I thought so, too.
No.
Maybe he stopped tuning in.
Jared,
comment back in, Diego.
Jared, I think he's talking from a question. He said Chris Thompson's playing against the Bears. That's why I'm scared. Darwin Thompson's matchup isn't much better against Baltimore.
Yeah, and Chris is the sure. Exactly. That's kind of the reasoning, right? Like, both have tough matchups. Who's more guaranteed to get work? It's Chris. Yes, the upside is higher with Darwin, especially in terms of touchdowns. But we know Chris Thompson's going to catch 7-8 balls, especially if they're coming from behind. If you can attack the Chicago defense anywhere, it's bad for running backs up the gut and whatnot, but their slot receivers, like they give up a lot over the middle of the field. We saw Sanders kind of dominate. That's where Thompson's going to be playing. So I like Thompson in that respect.
Josh Brown wants to know PPR flex, Allen Robinson, Nelson Aguilar, Hardman, or Randall Cobb.
I go A-Rob. I mean, Washington secondary has been getting destroyed all year.
Josh Norman's been fucking awful.
He's not even near receivers. Yeah. So, I mean, we've seen Trubisky continuing to lock on to Robinson ever since the playoffs of last year. Robinson looks much healthier. He's been a clear-cut target hog. So I lean Allen Robinson there in an easy matchup. I think he goes for 100 in a TD.
So I think our first few questions, our intro might have got cut out because Hillary asked again, and then Jacob Beatty asked Montgomery or Gore again.
Okay, so Gore,
maybe the beginning questions got cut.
They might have got cut out. Sorry if you missed those ones, folks.
So Jacob Beatty is David Montgomery, Frank Gore.
Frank Gore, again, 2-touchdown upside, sure volume than David Montgomery, in my opinion, after that whole Mike Davis Week 1 fiasco. Let's see him get those 17, 18 touches that we were so encouraged about 2 weeks in a row.
Garrett Ford wants to know half PPR for his flex, Larry Fitz or Carlos Hyde?
Larry Fitz, definitely. Fitz. Yeah, Fitz is, I mean, they throw the ball so many times. He's going to see 13 targets every week, and he just gets it done each and every week. Drew Hollingshead, shout out to you, man. You called that one. A reliable pair of hands in an air raid offense can never be overrated. He's crushing it.
He doesn't say the scoring, but Robert's asking T.Y. Hilton or Josh Gordon.
T.Y. Hilton. I mean, you got to trust T.Y. He's gotten 3 touchdowns in 2 games. Almost 40% of that target share. It's T.Y. Hilton.
And then he also wants to know Marlon Mack or Le'Veon.
You got to go Le'Veon. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be playing catch-up mode. I loved how hard Le'Veon played on Monday night. I give the guy a lot of shit just because of how last year ended and whatnot, but for him to give it his all like he did on Monday Night Football with his team clearly out of the game. He had 11 catches. He was spin-moving, stiff-arming, hurdling. I mean, he reminded us all that he is one of the best talents in the NFL, and the fact that he's going to go out and ball his hardest no matter what the situation. They're going to be down this week, but he's going to be out there and he's going to be balling again. So I like Le'Veon for sure.
Did we already respond to his Frank Gore or Darwin?
Frank Gore, yeah. It was Frank Gore.
Yeah, I think someone missed.
Yeah, whatever. We'll keep repeat them.
Jordan Teat wants to know Jameis Winston or Kyler.
Kyler, baby. Why would you ever go back to Winston?
He's sick this week.
I mean, and friggin' Zeno's texted me. This is the week that Winston blows up, but it could be. But Murray's sick. The touchdowns haven't been there, and he's just looked great. When the touchdowns come with the 400 yards, you're going to be very, very thrilled.
Hillary's asking their question from earlier. Connor, John Brown, Kupp, or Metcalf. We went with Kupp, correct?
Kupp was the safest play unless you're an underdog, in which you go John Brown. I just don't know if I trust Connor to stay healthy. Tough D-line there. Let's see how Mason Rudolph looks. Most people, you can't do that, but when you have 3 great options like that, I go Kupp for John Brown is really tough. I don't know.
I go Kupp. Is their clear number 1? Well, not clear, but...
I don't know. Yeah, you mentioned Goff's road struggles. I like John Brown. I'm going John Brown against Cincy. He's lighting the fuck up. Johnny Brown.
You can go with him or you can go with me and go with Kupp.
Yeah, be smart, Hills.
Momo wants to know half PPR, Shady or Miles Sanders?
Shady? I mean, I don't love him. I am nervous. It flares up early.
You need the Chiefs.
But, yeah, Chiefs versus a committee back that you don't know how he's going to be used. I go him. What time is it anyways?
12:15.
Okay, we still got some time. Alrighty, good.
Matt B wants to know Carry On or Frank Gore full PPR.
Carry On or Frank Gore? Frank Gore.
Carry On.
Frank Gore, baby. I'm all aboard the Frank Gore train this week.
No, you're just not on the carry.
I'm not on the Carry On train.
I mean, I don't like Carry On myself, but I feel like them releasing CJ, who's like Patricia's boy.
You're gonna be pissed when Paul Perkins gets 2 touchdowns.
That'll be hilarious. Oh, Giuseppe Russo found us.
Hey, Giuseppe, glad to see you, my man.
Said no Facebook, so yeah, we got banned by Adolf Goodell.
Yeah, coming after us. Sorry to not be in our usual spot. We should be back next week, but if Pat Bailey's actually smart and Facebook does own YouTube, which is wrong, it's Google, but if they do, we've kind of bashed Facebook a little bit today.
Actually, yeah, so your Monday Mocker Reports are going to be on here.
Yeah, the next couple broadcasts are going to all be on YouTube, unless Facebook decides to wisen up and get with the times.
Yeah, banned until Wednesday, I believe.
Banned until Wednesday. The bad boys over here.
Giuseppe wants to know flex for full PPR, Mixon or McCoy?
Mixon. Yeah, I'm riding it out. Going Mixon, baby.
Full PPR, John Brown, Breida, or Demarcus Robinson?
I'm going John Brown there. I love John Brown. The floor is so high, the ceiling's equal high. I mean, he's a high-end wide receiver, too, that just needs to be thought about that by everybody. Yeah, love John Brown.
Giuseppe's last question, so full PPR. He's already starting Carlos Hyde. He wants to know MVS, AP, Duke Johnson, or Crowder. Do you think Crowder's dead until Darnold gets back?
Yeah, I don't trust Crowder at all.
He didn't get a target, I don't think.
Yeah, he had like 1-2 catches. I don't like having Duke and Hyde in there, and so it comes down to MVS or AP. I don't want AP against the Bears. Is Aguilar out there? Is Rex Burkhead out there? Like, there's definitely some streamers this week that you could take a stab on instead that I like more than any of those guys. But if none of them, I'll take the shot on MVS going deep and catching a long touchdown if those are my other options.
Kyle Sava wants to know half PPR, John Ross or John Brown?
John Brown, definitely John Brown. All in on him.
Kyle also wants to know half PPR, OJ Howard or Greg Olsen?
Greg Olsen. It's time. He's facing a defense that's given up over 120 yards to 2 tight ends in a row, touchdowns to 2 tight ends in a row. Olsen looked good. Him and Cam had that chemistry.
You said Olsen.
Yeah, I'm going Olsen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's facing Arizona, the defense that just gave up all those points. OJ Howard, I could see rebounding. It's a great matchup against the Giants, but Olsen just feels a lot safer to me.
All right, Ian Court. Must sit 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So start 2, Randall Cobb, Diggs, Woods, or John Brown.
Oh, you know who we should toss out for Giuseppe too? Devin Smith, one of my favorite streamers this week. Yeah. Coming in for Gallup, he's out there in 90-something% of leagues, and I could see him definitely hauling in another long touchdown as a streamer this week. Dak Prescott's been just rocket fuel, just shooting everywhere, and Miami's obviously horrendous, so I like Devin Smith to potentially catch another long bomb. I would play him over MVS and some of those other guys you listed there too. And so what's this question, though? That made me think of it. I apologize.
Start 2, Randall Cobb, Diggs, Robert Woods, John Brown.
Isn't it crazy that Cobb is getting lumped in there with like Diggs right now? It's Diggs and John Brown for me. Diggs and John Brown for me. I think Diggs only, been very low volume there, but the Raiders secondary is horrendous. I think this is the week that he really kind of pans out for you. I'm a big fan of Diggs this week. So Diggs and John Brown.
We got a new fan in Fatty saying he's so glad he found this way better than Yahoo's garbage show.
Hey, thank you, Fatty. I love the name, Fatty Mateo. That's our new guy. So, Fatty, we're going to try to do both YouTube and Facebook moving forward because Facebook is just where we've always been, and we've gotten a ton of great interaction and great growth there. But we'll try to do both. So if you don't follow us on Facebook and this is your first time finding us, we're on Facebook at Roto Street Journal. We're on Instagram. We're all over the place. But the show has historically been only on Facebook. We're going to try to figure out ways to do both moving forward. So we don't want to lose you, though. We want to make sure we can keep there for you. So try to find us on Facebook if you don't already have us there, because we know we'll be back there. We're going to try to make sure we do both. Yeah, and then
we're obviously on Twitter, Instagram, everything.
Yep, Roto Street Wolf, Roto ST Journal. For both those, rotostreetjournal.com. And then, of course, the app, Roto Street Journal, in your app store. Probably the best thing we're doing right now. Everything's been great. But thanks so much for tuning in. We're really glad, and we appreciate those kind words.
I'm a better looking ball guy than Brad Evans.
Yeah, seriously. You can have this, or you can have Brad Evans. It's no-brainer.
Fusion V wants to know PPR, pick 1, Calvin Ridley, Cooper Kupp, Mecole.
I'm going Ridley versus Kupp.
Ridley's been so good.
Ridley's so good. He's tough to bench there, but Kupp's been so good too, and Denzel Ward's out. Did he say PPR, right?
Full PPR.
I think I lean Kupp to catch more balls there, but Jared Goff on the road is risky. It's a banged-up Colts defense. Yeah, I go Ridley. I like Ridley. That's safer in my opinion.
Luke wants to know Chris Thompson or Matt Breida, full PPR?
Breida. I don't know. I really like Thompson to catch a ton of balls in full PPR.
That script too for him when they're going to be down, getting their shit kicked in.
And that's again the area of the field they're most vulnerable. Thompson does a ton of snaps in the slot, and that's where you can beat the Bears. So I kind of like Thompson to catch in a full PPR. If it was standard or half, I'd lean Breida, but full, I like Thompson to catch 7 or 8 balls and just maintain that 10+ point floor.
Chris DeIndia is asking you wouldn't play Rex over Breida, correct?
No, but it's not that far off.
You're off the Breida train, huh?
I love Breida as a player. And I love how great he rips 10 yards a carry. Like, the guy's looked unbelievable. It's just a matter of he's never going to score touchdowns, which is ultimately going to cap that ceiling. And when it is a tougher front seven and a very weak secondary, like, I don't know. It's feeling to me like a 60-yard, like a nice, 6-7 yards a clip again, but only 10 carries, 12 carries. I don't know. Without the touchdowns, it's really tricky.
I'm going Breida.
Yeah, really?
Rex.
Yeah, I'm going Breida over Rex. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I go him over Rex, but yeah, I mean it's closer than you'd think.
Zay Jones? Is he doing this from the locker room?
Zay Jones? Hey.
McLaurin or Woods PPR?
I go Woods there. As much as I love McLaurin against Chicago, is one time I'd be a little bit nervous.
Can't you just picture Zay Jones just like sitting in his locker before?
Yeah, exactly. Coach is probably going to bench me, but.
Garrett Ford wants to know, to add on to his previous question, which I forget what it is. Larry Fitz, Mack, or Hyde, pick 2 half PPR.
Larry Fitz, Mack, or Hyde. I go Larry Fitz,
pick
and
2.
I go Mack. Yeah. I bench Hyde out of those options.
Petty Face wants to know.
Petty Face?
I kind of like this better than Facebook. It's funnier.
Yeah, the names are way better.
Because you know that these people made their YouTube accounts when they were in like 6th grade. Petty Face wants to know, need to. So start 2 full PPR: John Brown, Tyler Boyd, Emmanuel Sanders.
Damn.
Mecole Hardman or DJ Moore.
Need to start 2. I think there I lean Sanders and I lean Brown. Like, Boyd's got to be in consideration there too, and Moore. I mean, that's a tough one, Petty Face. Personally, my gut tells me Sanders and Brown. You got yourself some great options though. That must be a headache each week. But I really like Sanders. He's the number 3 wide receiver in fantasy right now. Since he's against Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo.
So I like Brown. Tre'Davious White might be on Tyler Boyd there. Yeah. DJ Moore is kind of the wild card because if Kyle Allen is that much better of a throw than Cam, and that probably won't be that hard to do, Moore and Curtis Samuel could light it up. But to me, you can't bench Brown against Cincy, and Sanders is the number 3 receiver in fantasy right now, so that's where I lean.
Jake Knight wants to know, need 2 full PPR. You made me rethink sitting Cooks. Brandon Cooks, Christian Kirk, or Denard Robinson. I mean,
who's Denard Robinson?
Oh, he meant DeMarcus Robinson.
Yeah, remember him?
The Michigan quarterback.
Yeah, I remember him.
Sure
yeah.
So DeMarcus Robinson, I assume.
Pick 2. I think I go Kirk is like my favorite, I guess. I think I go Cooks and Kirk. I mean, DeMarcus Robinson could just blow up.
I'm going to go Robinson and Kirk, I think.
But, yeah, I mean, Robinson does probably have the higher ceiling than anybody because when you play with Pat Mahomes, that's what you get. But yeah, I personally go Cooks and Kirk there.
Jordan T, would you consider...
Is this it? The last 5 or 6 here?
Yeah.
We've made it, folks. Already, I can breathe again. Thank God.
Got another one.
Nice.
Where are we? Would you ever consider Vance over Mark Andrews this week?
No.
He has a gut feeling.
I mean, you gotta trust your gut. Yeah, could Vance outscore him? Sure. He had 2 touchdowns last week. Of course he could. But Mark Andrews is the number 1 tight end in fantasy, and I get that he's a little dinged up, but he's playing, and he's facing a defense that's given up the 4th most points to tight ends. It's going to be a shootout game. They're going to throw more than they ever had to the Ravens. I like Andrews. He's going to be, I think he's going to play more snaps than he ever has because they're going to be up. It's going to be more back and forth than it's ever been. So, yeah, I lean Andrews, but if you got your gut, you got to trust your gut. But me personally, I'm going Andrews.
Raymond wants to know Hollywood Brown or Cooper Kupp.
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, the weather was all things equal. I would probably go Brown, but with the weather a little scary there, I don't know. Brown's been so good. A road Goff.
I could see them getting. Actually, I don't know. I'm staying with Kupp. I'm just being safe.
Kupp is was it full PPR?
Standard.
Standard. Oh, I would go Brown then. Standard's all about racking up the big plays and the touchdowns, and I really think Brown's a better bet for that.
Garrett wants to know Rivers or Baker.
Probably Baker. I mean, that's a shootout style game. I don't know who I have higher. That's probably 9 and 10 in my rankings, to be honest. That's a tough one too. I mean, Rivers, you're getting 250 and 2 scores. Baker could get swallowed up by that D line all night. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm always a Rivers guy.
You are a Rivers guy.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Rivers.
Yeah.
I love his floor.
The floor is just so steady with him, which is nice to have. Baker's ceiling in what could be a shootout game. But if Goff doesn't do his
I could
part,
see Baker just being like fucking running around in circles.
yeah, just getting swallowed up like fifth sack for the D-line. Yeah, I'll say Rivers is a little safer. I'll go him.
Giuseppe wants to know, should he drop Crowder or MVS and pick up either Burkhead or Devin Smith?
I would probably start either of those guys, and I'd probably go Devin Smith first as the streamer.
Which one would you drop, Crowder or MVS?
Probably Crowder, because we don't know when Darnold's going to be back.
I think they said week 5, but
if it's going to be week 5, then maybe not. But I would definitely fuck. I mean, what did MBS do last week? I haven't really followed.
I don't think MBS has done shit.
Yeah, maybe you cut MBS. This will be the week he has 150 and 2 scores. Yeah. That's tough. But I think I streamed Devin and I cut. I mean, if Crowder's gonna have Darnold back in 2 weeks, you got to hang on to him. 17 targets that first game. That's some PPR upside there. So I would hang on to him and cut MVS to stream one of those two guys. And I personally would go Devin Smith.
But actually,
One catch for 7 yards.
He commented down below. He said he dropped MVS or Burkhead and put him in his flex.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a fine option, too.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
Jordan says, with Penny out, should I go Yeldon, my guy Ron Jones, or Darrell Williams? Probably a 14-team league, I'm guessing.
Penny out, Yeldon, Ron Jones, or Darrell Williams. Ooh, boy. That's tough, Jordan.
Half PPR.
All this Darwin Thompson talk, Darrell Williams, it's like DeMarcus Robinson last week. We all talk about McCole Hardman, and then Robinson comes out and lights it up for 3 scores. I'd
say, I mean, if Burkhead's available.
Yeah,
would you go Damian Harris over those guys? I mean, it sounds like this is 14 teams.
I mean, maybe, yeah. Honestly, I could see. I think Damian Harris and Burkhead have much better shot at touchdowns than either of them. If it's those 3, I would probably go Yeldon, but check for Devin Smith, check for Burkhead. I think it's for
Zarby too, which is scary.
Yeah, that's not good.
Miguel wants to know Goodwin or Robert Woods. Marquise
Goodwin or Robert Woods? Woods. Definitely Woods, yeah.
Antonio, full PPR, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley. Full PPR.
Ridley.
Yeah.
Ridley you can't bench. And I love Kirk. The volume's there. They're finally getting on the same page. So he's rising in my ranks.
But just get showered with targets.
I know. Every week you're getting 11, 10 targets because they throw the ball 60 times.
Yeah, they're like receiver 4.
Keyshawn Johnson is 8 or 9. Yeah, 7 targets a game. There's so many pass attempts there. But Ridley's just getting it done so well. You can't bench him right now.
Jake Knight, thank you. He said Denard. Marco Escobar, trust Trubisky against the Redskins or go all in on Danny Dimes?
Danny Dimes, baby. Fuck Trubisky. You can't trust that guy. Useless. He's horrible.
Let's see. Raymond Sotelo, I'm already starting Eckler, but Aaron Jones versus Broncos or Chris Carson versus Saints. I have Eckler and Jones, but unsure about starting Carson. Standard league. I'd do all 3 if you can.
I know. Can you somehow figure out how to do all 3 of them? I think Eckler's definitely my favorite play of the bunch. Aaron Jones looked so good last week. How could you bench him? I know there's rumblings that they're trying to even up the carries between him and Williams, which just literally blows my fucking mind how you could ever expect Jamal Williams to do anything when he's on the field when you have Aaron Jones looking as dynamic as ever. Yeah, we need to give 15 more carries to the guy that's getting 1.2 yards per pop. Fucking moron LaFleur. I hope that's not true, but we saw with Henry last year, you can never take anything LaFleur does for granted. All that being said, I would go Jones over Carson, but I'd like to have all 3 in, to be honest.
Jordan T, thanks boys. I'm outie. Got to get the beers flowing and hit pregame for the Lions. #, Detroit versus everybody.
Yeah, that one's trending nationally, right? Detroit versus everybody. I love you, Jordan, but come on.
I'm surprised you guys have Wi-Fi out in Detroit.
Yeah.
Giuseppe says, can still get Devin Smith. Should I swap Rex for him? I think I like Rex more.
I mean, that's such a gut call. I like
Rex
Devin Smith to go deep.
Floor,
but Rex, you're getting 5 catches. Yeah, I like Devin Smith to get deep. But yeah, I mean, it's not like one of those, you have to drop Burkhead for him. That's your gut call. I personally lean Devin, but Rex could have a decent day, yeah.
Fatty says, we all agree that Gore is over Darwin today, but that means I have to leave Darwin on the waiver wire.
Oh, there's no one you can pick him up for, Fatty? You have to have Gore today. You got to put him in your lineup if you're relying on someone to start. But I really, really, really want to figure out a way for you to get Darwin on the roster because I would not be surprised to see him light it up today. And then you have the Chiefs. Long term, Darwin's by far the guy. So if it's just one versus the other to own, I'd rather own Darwin. But for a 1-week rental, if you're actually starting one, Gore's matchup is just too good to pass up today.
Escobar says that on that Trubisky or Danny Dimes thing, he could also stream Stafford this week.
Yes, Stafford. Yes, I love Danny Dimes. I'd be happy to see him. And I would I've actually made this exact recommendation to a bunch of people: is stream Stafford this week because he's got that awful Philly secondary in a game that should be high scoring and back and forth. But if you can also stash Daniel Jones just to see what he looks like. I'd love to see what he does this week. But I'm a big fan of Stafford. I think this week he has at least 302.
Miguel Mostert or Devonta? I think we already answered that.
Mostert or Devonta? Yeah, you're going Devonta. You're going to swallow back the puke, and I think if he's ever going to get it done, it's going to be this week. So, yeah, Devonta.
Joey Cabarello wants to know full PPR Darwin Thompson or Shady.
A nice, Merlot, Joey Cabarello from the basement cellars.
Like
aged in oak
barrels.
Yeah, Joey Cabarello.
Darwin or Shady? Full PPR.
I mean, Shady's the guy getting the start, so you got to go with the top option there. But again, I am nervous he's going to get hurt and dinged up or just suck. But yeah, I mean, you got to go with the top option personally.
Giuseppe Waller or Hooper, full PPR?
Waller or Hooper? I lean Waller. I mean, you're getting 7-8 targets a week. He's one of the surest bets. And Hooper's not too far off in terms of floor. But, I mean, Leonard is out. So, that does help everybody around that defense, especially tight ends down the seams. But I'm leaning Waller still. Who they face? The Vikings? Is that? Yeah, it is the Vikings.
At Minnesota.
That's tough too, though.
And Jacobs is banged up or whatever he is, has some disease.
Yes. Fuck, that's tough. I think gut's just telling me Hooper.
I'd say Hooper.
I'm gonna go Hooper.
I feel like Hooper's solid.
I think Hooper's fine in the end zone today. I'm gonna go Hooper, even if my rankings don't reflect that.
Cabarello wants to know Hooper or OJ
the
Howard.
Cobb Sov. OJ Howard or Hooper. I go give Howard one more turn. Give him one more ride. Are you willing or no? Are you done with him?
Yeah, I think after it's
the Giants,
yeah,
right?
And when they're everyone's we got no targets, blah blah, and then the coach is he's gonna get more involved.
Let's just pepper him.
Yeah,
right?
I could see. Well, Jameis is so dumb though. I don't know if he'll do that.
Yeah, I think Howard finds the end zone and rebounds. If he doesn't do it this week against a pathetic Giants team, giving up the third most points, then he's never gonna get it done. But yeah, he does it this week.
C. Shav wants to know he needs 2: Christian Kirk, Curtis Samuel, John Ross, or Robert Woods.
Good options. I personally lean
Kirk and Samuel.
I don't know. Woods, I think. Woods and I might go Ross over Kirk.
If it's full, he doesn't say this. What are the settings? But if it's full PPR, I'd say Kirk. It gets so many targets.
Yeah, Kirk's definitely the better bet for 6 catches or so. But Ross is tough to bench. I mean, he's leading the league in yardage and fantasy points. I think I go Ross Woods personally.
I still think he's such a scrub. I don't know why. I'm just not a fan of him.
He's playing that Cook's role to perfection in that offense, though. Damn, we just get the comments keep coming, huh? I like it.
Sauce Money wants us to pick 2. He says it's not raining in KC anymore, by the way.
Oh, nice. Good to know.
Edelman, John Brown, or Demarcus Robinson?
I'm benching Robinson there. Edelman, now that AB's out, should be right back into that 9-catch, 80-yard, probably getting a touchdown roll. John Brown, I've already raved about this entire show. Great floor, greater ceiling. I love John Brown.
Shav did say that it is full PPR for the Kirk, Samuel, Ross, Woods.
I still go Wood. I mean, if anybody, I'm benching probably Woods for Kirk, but I think you got to keep Ross in the lineup. That's going to be a tough one because I see all 4 of them in great scenarios this week. I really like them all, but yeah, I personally would probably go Woods and Ross, and then last minute switch out Ross for Kirk. But
yeah, that's what you do at 12:58.
Exactly,
and then it's the wrong pick, and you're fucked.
Exactly. But right now, I'd be going Woods and Ross, but I can see why that one's fucking with you. That's a tough one.
Crown Trendy's saying with James White being out, should I start Chris Thompson or Kenyon Drake in full PPR?
Thompson. You can't trust Drake right now. As talented as he is, he's just not touching the ball.
Can I trade him, please? By the way?
Please go to Tampa Bay. Go to Tampa Bay.
When someone's cut out, Twitter's always oh, he's going to the Patriots, whatever. Now, whenever a running back's on the block, it's always, please go to Tampa.
Yeah, exactly. Is that everybody?
Yep.
Alrighty, folks. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate especially anybody that's used to seeing us on Facebook that made the move over here. If you follow, if this is new, you're new to us, we usually do this on Facebook, so give us a follow there because that's where we can guarantee we'll be next week. We're going to try to do both because I really like being able to hit as many people as possible. And then, of course, rotostreetjournal.com, Roto Street Journal app in your app store. Tons of great stuff for you to find in Twitter, Instagram. We're everywhere. So find us. Great podcast, too.
Quick
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe's asking Waller over Rex in the flex. Full PPR.
Probably. Yeah. No. I don't know. Fuck. You got to trust your gut on these shitty-ass little ones. Like, I don't know. Waller versus Burkhead. Like, I'd probably go Waller and hope for a touchdown, but...
It's gonna be the Patriots are gonna be so annoying today because they're gonna score 7 touchdowns.
Exactly.
It's gonna be Damian Harris. It's gonna be Jacoby Myers.
Right. Dorsett, definitely. Yeah. Check Philip Dorsett. I'd play him today. Like, I mean, that's a guy you could get out there and stream for sure. This is my new go-to, Fatty. You're my new go-to. I love it, dude. Yep. Great name.
Follow us everywhere. Subscribe to the podcast. Blah blah blah.
Name of the episode: Fatty Mateo gets the win. MVP, baby. Alrighty, folks. Best of luck in week 3. Get it done. Come back here tomorrow night. We have the Monday Market Report live for you here on YouTube till we're blocked. Peace.